Good morning, guys. Welcome back to a new video. Today we are going to talk about, and I'm going to have my coffee while we do that, a new foundation from Hourglass. So good. And this, I feel like the beauty community has been going crazy for it. It is the Hourglass Vanish Foundation Liquid. So this was available in a stick foundation. They've just brought it out in a liquid. I don't have the full size one yet that is on order, but I have this little itty bitty tiny little sample that Sephora was sending out, and this is in the color Shell. And folks, we're gonna be in this together because I think this one is gonna be a little bit dark, but we're just gonna go for it. We're gonna see what happens. Hopefully the color will be good. I think I'm more in like the linen shade range, but we're gonna see how this one works. So this, I feel like, has been highly anticipated, and it was just released online a few days ago at Sephora. This little baby is making a lot of promises. They are saying things like, this is a highly concentrated liquid foundation designed to deliver instant full coverage with half a pump. No primer needed. They are saying this is full coverage, natural finish, and of course, as you guys probably already know, Hourglass is a vegan and cruelty-free brand, if that's important to you. So I thought this was a little bit pricey for the full size, so you get 25 milliliters for $56. In comparison, a high-end foundation such as the Armani Luminous Silk, that's gonna give you 30 milliliters for $64. So I thought it was right in that Armani Luminous Silk range, and maybe they're saying, well, if you only need half a pump for this, it's gonna go a long way, so the $56 is really gonna be worth it to you. So we will see. Like I mentioned, have the shade Shell here, and as the description said, you don't need a primer. So we're not gonna use a primer. I just have my normal skincare on, moisturizer, that sort of thing. I'm not gonna do a primer. I actually didn't read any reviews on this. I really wanted it to be a true first impressions and not be kind of swayed by any of the reviews that are already out on YouTube or on Sephora. So this is going to be a true first impressions. So I'm gonna use a brush for this. I'm not gonna use a beauty blender. I'm gonna recommend a brush. It looks like they are kind of selling this along with the brush, kind of promoting both at the same time. So I'm gonna use a brush, and I'm just gonna take a little sip, and then we're gonna get right into it. I'm just going to take the cap off and stir it a little bit. You really should shake a foundation before you apply it, but this has no really shake capability, so I'm just going to stir it up, and then I'm going to apply it directly to my foundation brush. I'm just gonna take it off the little applicator and apply it directly to the brush. You could apply this directly to your face too. I just kind of like applying it directly to the brush. All right, we have the foundation on the brush, and we will see how full coverage this is gonna be at first go, because I have this lovely little guy right there that we're gonna need to cover. So I am just going to pat it on the face, and I would say probably if I took that one swipe, that's probably gonna equate to about a half a pump if you used the regular applicator. So I'm just going to buff it in, and it really is buffing in quite nicely. It is really applying very smoothly. I don't feel like it's dragging on the face. I feel like it is applying very nice, and it is quite natural at first go. I don't know if I would say from this first just initial application that it's going to be full coverage in one go, but we will see once I get this all blended in. This color actually is not as bad as I had thought. It's definitely too dark, just in general terms, but really could be worse, could be definitely worse. This first pass, I would not say that it's full coverage in one go. I'm definitely going to need a little bit more. So now that I have kind of a first layer going, I'm just gonna do a little bit more just in the areas where I need a little bit more coverage. Like you can see this isn't covered. This is just, an issue. So I'm just gonna take a couple more dots and kind of dot it on the areas that I want. Just a little bit more coverage and blend it on through. But so far it really does blend really well, and it is a very natural finish. I really have no dewiness whatsoever. It's very natural. But I do see a little bit of it sitting on the skin. It doesn't look perfectly like, you know, your natural skin. Definitely see a little bit of a foundation look to it. Let me just zoom in and show you how this looks on the skin. Guys, we are zoomed in close, and you can see that it's not completely full coverage. Like, we have, you know, all of my freckles here. We have this blemish. You know, we have under the eyes, kind of down my nose as well. We have, you know, I have some spots. It's a thing. So it's not going to be full coverage, and I don't think at this point that I want to put on any more. Let me just zoom in up here as well. You can see like a little bit. I probably should get like some Botox there, but I mean, it is a very beautiful natural finish, but it isn't, you know, fully covering everything. So I am going to need to apply a concealer. I would apply a concealer anyway. I just wanted to make a note of that because they did mention it in the product information that people felt like it was a concealer level of coverage. I don't feel that, but I do think it's a beautiful amount of coverage. I'm going to put on some concealer, apply the rest of my makeup, and then I will check back in with you guys and we can see how this is wearing so far. I'm also going to set it with powder. I set everything with powder. So just for consistency's sake, I'm going to set this with powder as I would any foundation. We will see how this wears. I will check back in with you guys in a little bit. All right, guys, I have a full face of makeup on, and it has been now about an hour. It is 11:45 now. So far, I feel like I've given myself a spray tan of the face because this foundation is definitely too dark, which I had mentioned before. And I want to say that it's oxidized at this point about a half a shade. So as you can see, we have some differences. So I'm just gonna keep this little turtleneck up here for now. Aside from that, so far I am really liking the finish. As I mentioned before, it's a natural finish, and I do feel that the coverage, especially once I did concealer and powder, is definitely more in the full range. Now, if you don't like full coverage, I don't know if you'd want to go for this. I didn't really find that there was a way to apply it less than full coverage. I feel like you really need to go for it or not go to it. Probably picks a different foundation than this one. But if you like a full coverage, I do think you're going to like this. I'm just gonna take a little look in this mirror here. And yeah, so far it is really looking very good. It's kind of filled in the pores, and I do have a little bit of settling on my forehead. So there definitely is a little bit of settling on the forehead, and as you can see, it's not, you know, fully covering everything on my skin. So that is the first check-in. It's only been wearing about an hour, as I said, so we will see how this wears throughout the day. Welcome back to another check-in. It is 2:54 now, so we are about the 4-hour wear mark. And so far, I'm liking this check-in even better than the 1-hour mark. I thought kind of at the 1-hour mark, the foundation hadn't melded quite yet with all the oils in my own skin, and it looked like it was like sitting a little bit on top of the face, but now it has started melding with my own skin. My natural oils have kind of mixed with the foundation a little bit, and it is looking really beautiful. My pores are looking filled in. I do have a little creasing under the eye, but I have that anyway. It's like I always have it. So I'm not gonna knock that against the foundation because that's just my life. I am liking it at this point in the day where it's sort of meshed with my own natural oils and is starting to just look a little bit more like skin and less that foundation look on top of skin. So I will continue to check in with you guys throughout the day. Hi everyone, welcome back to the final installment of this Hourglass Vanish Liquid Foundation wear test. It is 8:01 right now, and this is going to be the final installment. So this foundation has been wearing for about 9 hours at this point, and you probably aren't going to be able to see hardly any difference on camera because this foundation has seriously worn like iron. Since I first applied it to now, I really haven't seen much of a difference at all in the look of it on the face. And remember guys, they said that you don't need to apply this foundation with a primer, and I didn't. So you definitely aren't gonna need to use a primer with this. I think that is a great selling point for buying a foundation that's a little bit of a higher cost if you don't need to also have a primer to go with it. So I think if you are in more of the oily combination normal skin type, this foundation, and caveat, you like a full coverage, this foundation you are actually really going to like. Now, I'm not really sure if you're on the drier side, whether you'll like it or not. I'm just not a dry skin type. So if you are dry skin, I would recommend you check out some reviews of folks who have a similar skin type to yours, just to make sure that it's going to work for you as well. I definitely trend more toward the little bit dewier, not as much full coverage foundations. That's sort of my sweet spot. But if you like a full coverage, I definitely think you are going to like this foundation. You can probably see a little bit of shine coming through just on the corners of my nose, but otherwise I am really not shiny at all. I haven't done any powder, nothing. So really, if you need to go somewhere and make sure that your foundation is 1, full coverage, and 2, is going to wear all day, I would highly recommend that you check this out. I do think you won't have to worry about doing any touch-ups, any powder, and it really does continue to look better and better as the day goes on. So let me zoom in a little bit so you can see close up. So zoomed in, I hope you can see that it actually is looking really good still. You can see a little bit, of stuff peeking through. Everything is just looking really still very natural of a finish. I hope you all really enjoyed this full day wear test of the Hourglass foundation. I really love doing these wear test reviews to really give you a sense of how something is gonna wear throughout the day. Please give this video a thumbs up if you like these types of reviews as well. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel already, or you're new here, I would really love it if you subscribe to my channel. And that wraps up this Hourglass foundation review. So I will see you guys in my next one.